How are you? Good. So how is everybody? Good. I'm doing okay. So today's lecture is on financial analysis, the last part of the case analysis template. And it's a little bit different. I'm just going to walk you through how to do things. There's not a PowerPoint lecture per se.
Will this be on the exam tomorrow?
Will this be on the exam tomorrow? No, it will not.
Okay. But as far as case analysis.
Yes. So the first page of the financial analysis section of the case analysis, I want you to compare two companies with each other and with the industry. So in order to calculate these numbers, we need to find the correct equations. Those equations are in a document under case analysis materials called 2E Guide to Case Analysis. So if you open the 2E Guide to Case Analysis and scroll down to page 4, it's got all the formulas you need. So gross profit margin and operating profit margin, one of those two is what we want to calculate for the first box. So we'll need to find financial information on the company, which the best place to find that is a database called Morningstar. So if you go to the library's databases, and scroll down to the letter M for Morningstar and click Go, that'll bring up the Morningstar database. So as an example, I'm going to compare Microsoft and Google here. So first of all, we just type in the name of the company that we're looking for, Microsoft. That'll bring up a bunch of different information. You're going to go to the tab that says Financials. And that has income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow, which you're going to need the income statement and the balance sheet information. So first of all, let's see what we need. So the 2E Guide to Case Analysis says for gross profit margin, we need sales minus cost of goods sold divided by sales. So if we go back to revenue is another word for sales. So That's one of the numbers we need. And cost of revenue is another word for cost of goods sold. So there's the second number we need. So 73,723 minus 17,530. All of that divided by 73,723 equals, now we need to do that calculation. So we copy all that, open up Excel. How do we not have Excel? Huh? There we go. So in order to have Excel calculate this, we need to take out the commas and put equals. So that's 0.76. And the first company here is Microsoft. So that's exactly what I want you to put there. We'll change things to Times New Roman 12-point font and make it all black. Bless you. And now we're going to calculate liquidity, leverage, and activity, all for Microsoft. So activity, we want the current ratio. So if we go back to the guide, scroll down a bit, the formula for current ratio is current assets over current liabilities. So if we look back in Morningstar, current assets and current liabilities are in the balance sheet, not in the income statement. So we go to balance sheet, and you see here total current assets. That's the number we want, 85,084. And then we need the number for current liabilities. So if we scroll down, total current liabilities, 32,688. We'll grab that number, put it in here, equals. And then we go back to Excel. Oops. Copy, not cut. And we'll take out the commas. 2.60. So now we want leverage, and you'll see here in parentheses it says the ratio that I want you to calculate. So all you got to do is go find that ratio in the 2E guide to case analysis. So we want long-term debt to equity ratio. So that's long-term debt over total stockholders' equity. So now we need to find a line item in here for long-term debt. You'll see here 10,713. And then we need a number for total stockholders' equity. You'll see here total stockholders' equity down below, 66,363. And then we go to Excel and calculate that. Take out the commas. 0.16. And then finally, we want the average collection period. So we go back to the 2E guide to case analysis. And you scroll down a little bit further to activity ratios, and you'll find average collection period. That's accounts receivable divided by total sales divided by 365. So we go in here and find a number for accounts receivable. That's receivables, 15,780. Divided by total sales, which we already had up above for profitability, 73,723, divided by 365. Put that in parentheses. And then go back to Excel and we'll calculate this. Take out the commas. 78.13. So that's all the calculations for Microsoft. Then you're going to go in and do the same thing for Google, or in your guys' cases, whichever the companies are that you're studying, the main company and one of its competitors. So here we'll type Google. Make sure that's in black. Make sure everything's in black, actually. And then we go back to Morningstar, look up Google. And go to Financials. And same thing, we need the number for revenue. Minus the number for cost of revenue. And all of that divided by total revenue. So once again, we'll take that equation, copy, bring it over to Excel, get rid of the commas, 0.59. And then we're going to calculate liquidity for Google. So that is in the balance sheet, those numbers that we need. We need total current assets, 6454. Divided by total current liabilities. And then we go to Excel and calculate that. Get rid of the commas. Enter. 4.22. And then long-term debt to equity ratio for Google. We need long-term debt number. Copy. Paste. Divided by the total shareholder equity number. Copy and paste. Equals. And then go to Excel again. Get rid of the commas. 0.04. Really low. And then finally, average collection period. We're going to need accounts receivable. So we'll scroll up for the number for receivables. And that is going to be divided by total revenues, 50,175, like we had up above, divided by 365. Take all that. Copy. Put it into Excel. Get rid of the commas. 57.36. And make sure everything's Times New Roman. 12. And there we go. So that's what I want it to look like for each of your companies. So your main company that you're studying and one of its main competitors, you're going to find the information you need in Morningstar. And the formulas for the equations you're going to find in the 2E Guide to Case Analysis, which is in the Case Analysis Materials section of Blackboard. So once you've calculated each of the two companies, you then need to calculate what the industry average for these ratios is. And in order to do that, I have a little instruction manual here, instructions for calculating industry average financial ratios. So if you open up that Word document, that's got all the instructions you need for how to do the industry averages. So open the first Research Industry Profiles report you use for your driving forces analysis. Scroll down to the section entitled Financial Information and do the following. So if we go back to the library's databases and go to First Research Industry Profiles. And we look up software. Computer software. Scroll all the way down to the bottom of the report where it says financial information, and then follow these instructions. Find the row under the income statement for gross margin. The number immediately to the right of this line is the average gross profit margin in that industry expressed as a percentage of total sales. So we go back. Gross margin, 84.5%. So we're going to take that number and put it right here. So then we go back to the instructions again. Current ratio. Find the row under financial ratios for current ratio. The number immediately to the right of this line is the average current ratio of a company in that industry. This is a number, not a percentage. So we go back here, income statement, balance sheet, financial ratios, current ratio, 1.36. So we'll go back and put 1.36 in that box. Then go back to the instructions. Long-term debt to equity ratio. Find the row under balance sheet for total long-term liabilities. And then find the row under balance sheet for net worth. So we'll scroll back up to balance sheet. Total long-term liabilities, 23.6%. Divided by net worth, 36.7%. Equals, I don't know. Let's go to Excel and find out. $23.6 divided by 36.7, 0.64. And then finally, we want the average collection period. So instructions. Average collection period. Find the row under balance sheet for accounts receivable. Find the row under financial ratios for total assets to sales. And calculate this equation right here. So we go back here. Accounts receivable is 16.5%. Oops. Yep. Times total assets to sales. So we go into financial ratios. Total assets to sales, 103.1. So we're going to do that and then divide that entire amount by 100 over 365. We'll go back to Excel again. Whoa.
You didn't change the percent to decimals on the top.
I didn't change percent to decimals?
Yeah, you did 16.5.
Aha! Yes. So that's 0.62. Very low. So that is what the chart's going to look like when you're all done. I want you to show the calculations of what you've done and the final numbers that you calculated. And then you're going to go down below the chart and you're going to give me a little explanation of the comparison of the two numbers. So profitability, let's see here. Microsoft's gross margin is significantly higher than Google's. Both companies, however, are below the industry average. So I just want you to compare the two companies' numbers to each other and to the industry and write a sentence about that. Okay? So in Liquidity, Google's current ratio is nearly twice as high as Microsoft's. Both companies are well above the industry average. Now, leverage, 0.16, 0.04, 0.64. Google's long-term debt to equity ratio is much lower than Microsoft's. Both companies are well below the industry average, period. Whoop, unbold that. Then finally, activity. Google's average collection period is shorter than Microsoft's. Both companies, however, are much longer than the industry average. Unbold that, and you're done. That's what I want the first page of the financial analysis to look like. Okay? So you're going to show your calculations for each of the two companies. You're going to calculate the industry averages, and then you're going to tell me one sentence or two sentences about each of the four types of ratios, comparing the two companies to each other and to the industry average. Yes,
And those
Jill.
are supposed to be the same companies that we used earlier in the report. Okay.
Yep. Any questions other than that? Pretty straightforward. Okay, so that brings us to pages 2, 3, and 4. Income statement analysis. I want you. It's not quite as tough as it looks. I basically want you to go into I'm going to go back to Microsoft here. The financials, the income statement, and copy and paste everything you see there. So we're going to get rid of that chart. No, that didn't work so well. I was afraid of that. Yes. Yes, that's a good idea. So let's do that. So let's see here. Open up Paint. There we've got our screenshot. We want to crop this a little bit. So you take a screenshot, good idea, of the financials for the company that you're focused on. And evidently wait a long time for Word to work. There we go. So once you've got that in there, I want you to look at the various rows. Here, let me make this a little bigger. So you look at the various rows and identify something that stands out. So let's see here. Research and development. Maybe you want to say research and development is relatively low at only 9,811 divided by 73,723. %13 of sales. Make that black and not bold. So you're going to make a screenshot of the income statement, put it in here, and then just look through the income statement and see what number stands out to you. So research and development is something I noticed. You could say, net income is relatively high or low. You could take a look at your cost of revenue, whichever line you want to focus on here. Focus on it and write me a one-sentence description of what is interesting about that number. Does that make sense? Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing for the balance sheet. So we'll go to the balance sheet. Make a screenshot. Actually, we may need to shorten things a bit so that it actually fits on one screen. Then do a screenshot. Go to Paint. crop the picture. Oops. Go in and insert that picture. And same thing at the bottom. We're going to analyze the lines that we have here. And maybe in this case, we'll look at receivables. $15,780. And total assets are 121,271. Oops, forgot the equal sign. 13%. Receivables are relatively low at 13% of total assets. Unbold, black, done. Okay? And then, nice thing, for the last page, common size balance sheet analysis, delete that. I don't want you to do it. The very last page of the case analysis you can delete. Does that make sense? Questions about any of that? Okay. It's just about 10 till, so for once I've actually taken the entire class time. Enjoy your next 2 days, and I will see you for the exam on Wednesday.